Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another WEIGO podcast, aka What Else is Going On podcast, YouTube video. I'm your girl, Taria. First of all, I hope you're having an amazing Saturday. It is cold to me and rainy here in Maryland. I am a hot weather girl, and I'm not saying I like it to be stifling hot, but I'm a person that prefers hot over cold. I know people say when you're cold, you could put clothes on and not take them off, but I have trained my body to know how to operate under extreme heat circumstances. And cold makes me like, whew, just can't move. So it is cold and rainy, but I'm thankful for another day anyway. I hope y'all are having a beautiful Saturday. If not, I do hope that it gets better for you. So couple of topics I want to talk to you guys about. So let's go ahead and get into what else is going on. First up, are y'all watching Summer House Martha's Vineyard? I know I asked y'all the question in the last video, but if for those of you that are watching, you're going to know what I'm talking about. For those of you that aren't, real quick up to speed, there's a guy in the house named Amir, not my favorite, just going to be honest, ever since last season. I tweeted last year that I felt like being in the house for Amir was like a social experiment about being around Black people. He is biracial, and his father is Black, wasn't in his life, so he was not around Black people pretty much at all. He was raised by the other side of the family, and so I feel like this is I can't remember exactly what I tweeted. I should have pulled it up, but basically, it's like a social experiment. And then years ago, he had tweeted about how he was scared of Black women, how Black women were scary. When somebody pulled up those tweets last year, he never came out and spoke on it and said, you know what, y'all, those were my thoughts at the time, or I was young, or, I apologize, Black women, none of that. He just deactivated or disabled his Twitter, but then, excuse me, y'all, then he made it active again. I'm not about holding somebody to their past thoughts. However, if something does come up, and it doesn't even have to be aggressive, hey, you were tweeting about Black women and how you were scared of them. You still feel this way? Or because you in the house crushing on Jordan, a Black woman. So, but the fact that he just never even said anything to me was kind of like, But anyway, fast forward, he has a girlfriend who is non-Black. The girlfriend is now she was on last week's episode, the episode that they were having. Jordan was throwing a Freaknik party. So, of course, they were dressing up like in the 90s and all of that stuff and just having a good old time, dancing, whatever. I used to, anyway, now I'm not even, but so having a good time. And as they were dancing downstairs, having a good time, she was like, I can't be a part of that. And a lot of us on the internet were like, be a part of what? What can't you be a part of? She seemed very standoffish. So Candiace from the Real Housewives of Potomac, or formerly of the Real Housewives of Potomac, loves Martha's Vineyard Summer House. And so she tweets about it. So she had some things to say, just like a lot of us, pretty much some of the same things that we had to say about Amir's girlfriend and how she kind of was coming off last episode. So Amir wanted to address her tweets. So let's get into it. It says, Summer House Martha's Vineyard star Amir Lancaster defends girlfriend Natalie against Candor Dillard's social media shade. Summer House Martha's Vineyard star Amir Lancaster is defending his girlfriend Natalie Cortez against some serious social media shade from fellow Bravo celebrity Candiace Dillard. She's not sure of what to say or how to come across in the right ways. So she's trying to be as poised and as perfect as possible because she doesn't want people to hate her. Amir tells Page Six's virtual reality podcast, giving context to Cortez's polarizing appearance on the show April 28th, on the show's April 28th episode, again, which was last week's episode. And how they said polarizing appearance, because I'm telling you, social media was lit up like, go home, Roger, boo, tomato, 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 like, we don't want to see you. I definitely know I felt that way, and a lot of social media did. So Amir goes on to say she doesn't want to be too vulnerable, but she doesn't also want to be too uptight. Meanwhile, the Real Housewives of Potomac alum and noted Summer House Martha's Vineyard fan Dillard thought there was something weird about Cortez's dynamic with Lancaster, which is Amir, and let it be known in a series of unfiltered posts shared via X. The amount of coddling taking place with the girlfriend tells me we are missing context in their relationship. Maybe as it relates to the show, something that Candiace tweeted. And then she tweeted, like, is she not comfortable with him being on the show? Something is missing. He's on eggshells and it's weird. Hashtag Summerhouse MV for Martha's Vineyard. And she's right. You can tell that he was very much like not the Amir that we see when she's not there. Specifically addressing this assessment from Dillard, Amir asserts that Natalie is completely fine with his participation in the unscripted series. She's doing the best that she can, and I really applaud her for that because she's here in support of me. She's not here to steal the spotlight. She's not here to do anything. So she's going to make sure that she gives the right answers that don't come off too bashful or too entitled or anything like that. But Candiace also took issue with Natalie for eyebrow-raising comments she made at a day party about her real estate career in comparison to Amir's. Notably, the brunette beauty boasted that she represents properties that are over $2 million, while he sells homes that are under $1 million. She said, I do what he does in a year, in a month. Later, during a nighttime hot tub session, Amir's castmates asked the duo what was next in their relationship. I think that starting our careers together is really a big move, Natalie responded, expressing her desire to meld their real estate efforts. He just joined my team, and I'm super excited to have him kind of on my side of the fence and get to work together. So in the hot tub, like the article said, they were saying, what are y'all steps for the future? And Amir sells real estate, and he joined her team at the firm that they work for. Candiace, who's currently pregnant and expecting her first child with husband Chris Bassett, was not feeling either instance. Girl, they asking you what's next in your relationship and you giving corporate America answers. Your team, is he your man or your assistant? I dash dash what? This isn't giving. Hashtag Summerhouse MV. While it may have backfired, Amir tells Virtual Reality Tea that Natalie purposefully gave the bare minimum in those moments. So he's admitting to her answer backfiring, basically. So when we're talking about our business or what the next steps are, she's giving you the bare minimum. Now, mind you, he said, so when we're talking about our business. But the question that they asked wasn't about the business. Now, they could have very easily said, oh, we're not comfortable talking about it, or we're just taking it day by day. But he specifically said, so when we're talking about our business, and that's not the question that was asked. Anyway, let me go back. He said, so when we're talking about our business or what the next steps are, she's giving you the bare minimum. And if I want to come in and put a little whipped cream on top of that, she's excited for that, but she knows that's not necessary. Because after she answered and was talking about him joining her real estate team, then he answered and he said that the next step in his mind was an engagement. And it didn't seem like Natalie was like, and listen, I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, it could have been nervousness, but it didn't seem like, who knows, maybe she didn't want to get into it. Listen, cameras are all in your face when you're not used to that. Maybe it does take some getting used to. Maybe you are a deer in headlights, right? However, a proposal is still on the table, even if it's not at the top of the Texas-based couple's priority list. We don't want to do an engagement just because we need a ring to commit to each other and show that. We actually want it to be a celebration of us taking that next step. And that is something that we've talked about since like the 4th month of us dating. This is genuinely someone who I very much care about, and she cares a lot about me. Then Summer House Martha's Vineyard airs Sundays at 9 Eastern Standard Time on Bravo. So I just thought it was interesting that he responded back. And I'm wondering if he responded to Candiace specifically because Candiace was not the only one. Like there was an overwhelming amount of people talking about Natalie on this episode, but Candiace is a Bravo leb. So let's address her because what I'm going to say, hello, will get picked up by Page Six, by Radar Online, by Reality Blurb, all of those, the Bravo Shade Room, all of that. So I'm wondering if that's why he purposely addressed it. I'm just going to say this. Again, I know cameras all in your face can be uncomfortable. My kids were in entertainment. I've talked about this for 7 years. They had a manager in New York. We had to go back. They had to go back and forth for auditions. I was there with them. They did some pretty good good things, auditioned for some good projects. And then the agent, well, before we had went to a manager, the agent saw my husband when we went up there to officially meet them. And she was like, as soon as he walked in, what do you do? Can you audition? Ma'am, he's like the major breadwinner because I'm not working because I'm bringing them back and forth to New York, but whatever. Anyway, so whenever he could, now anyone who's in show business knows you don't get, every once in a while you may get like, oh, there's an audition coming up in a couple days. But for us, it would be like, oh yeah, every day from like 2:30 to 3 p.m. on, my stomach would be in knots because I knew I would get an email saying they needed to be in New York the next day for an audition. He can't just take off of work like that. But there were times when they sent him out on auditions and he got very, very close to booking. We actually did do a family commercial on Coney Island. It was showing everywhere. Why they cut out me, my part, and my daughter's part, but my husband, my oldest daughter, and my son, all they showed them. I don't know how many times. I said, but anyway, I say that to say that as much as I love speaking, as much as I love being on YouTube, which requires a camera, they sent me out too on like a couple of separate auditions. And I got like really nervous, like extremely nervous. Like back when I used to attend the church of the ex-husband, whose wife is now on the Real Housewives of Potomac, Giselle's ex, I do spoken word. That church was big. They had cameras. So not only are you in this huge church, but then it's being streamed out to so many people. And whenever they would request for me to do spoken word, I would be like nervous. Those lights are in your face. It's so bright. And that's not even really following me around, right? I'm not supposed to be living my regular life. Even with auditioning, I wasn't living my regular life with a camera in my face. I knew the camera was supposed to be on me. So I was actually shocked that I got so nervous. Like, oh my gosh, this is an audition, blase, or you're performing your spoken word, you know. So I say all that to say that I'm not really giving Natalie anything, but I do understand how the cameras could have made her nervous or a bit hesitant. With that said, I still know what I picked up on, and it's a lot of stuff that Miss Candy Gal picked up on, and I'm not interested in having her back. We don't need Natalie back, even though she'll probably be back this week in tomorrow's episode, because I'm assuming we're going to get like the next day after the party from last week. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that Amir responded. Again, I can be very transparent and say Amir is not one of my folks at all on that show. I do think it's a social experiment for him. And look, if he learns about, you know, another part of him, I think that's great, honestly. But just something about the way, there's something about him that just feels very like off with me. Very much so. And him and Natalie, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. I don't know, child. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about Amir's response to Candiace / the audience's response to his woman on the show last week. Next up, let's talk about who y'all, J&J, Jeezy and Jeannie Mai. So Jeezy says, Jeannie Mai smearing me because I said no to baby number 2. This is according to TMZ. Jeezy is firing back at his estranged wife, Jeannie Mai, whom he claims is out to smear him just because he didn't want to have a second kid with her, alleging she's out for revenge. The rapper filed new legal docs. I asked this question in one of my other videos I did. I think it was the one about him rescinding the request for full custody. Does it cost her filing, or is that all just included in whatever he's paying his lawyer? Like, is that a billable hour, like filing a doc? Because he's been filing a lot of docs, taking it back. Like Dr. Heavenly, I'm going to say this and I'm going to take it back. Like, is he filing a lot of documents and then taking it back and then them costing him money? Or is it all just under what he's paying his lawyer is what I want to know. But anyway, the rapper filed new legal docs in his divorce case with Jeannie, and he's offering up a firm defense to Jeannie's bombshell claims from last week, in which she alleged Jeezy was reckless and abusive, and that he'd gotten physical at least on one occasion. Here in this new paperwork obtained by TMZ, Jeezy once again denies any such notion, just like he did when she first leveled the claims and asked a rhetorical question. If I was so dangerous and ABUSIVE, why were you trying to have another baby with me? Indeed, Jeezy claims Jeannie was desperate for another bundle of joy with him and adding to their family of 3. But he claims when he rebuffed her, she simply couldn't handle it. In fact, he even goes so far as to allege that once he notified her that he'd already drafted up divorce docs in June, threatening to file them if their marriage didn't improve, she went to IVF specialists to get the process going in hopes of conceiving that way. Of course, Jeezy says he wasn't on board with that, even though he claims she pursued the process and might have dropped thousands of dollars in doing so. She also claims, and he also claims in his docs, Jeannie is allegedly the one whose blood runs hot, and he claims she's the one who's volatile and violent, suggesting she's used to dudes who are more docile. Jeezy also continues to go back to, she's used to dudes more docile. Then that means you are, well. Jeezy also continues to complain she's icing him out of parenting time with their young daughter, whom he claims he only saw for one day/night in April. Bottom line, he's airing all the dirty laundry in court docs as this divorce case gets nastier and nastier. So I'm just going to show you all this real quick. This is what he showed. These are the documents that he showed. So y'all see this? Monaco's mom. It says, it looks like it's a calendar. Best chance to conceive is in 1 day, ovulation in 6 days. This was April 9th, 2022. Well, tomorrow is when my eggs do what they do, so you got one job, Captain, with the bullseye. This is what Jeannie allegedly sent to him. And then you see the other text that says January 29th, 2023. No, wait, now let me go back. Mind you, she sent that to him allegedly April of, 2022, but he didn't file until 2023. Okay. Then January of 2023, I guess this is him or her. Wow, somebody remembers me. I just want to sink into doing life with you again. Been really enjoying it lately, with the kissy faces. And then another calendar. Best chances of conceiving are today and 3 more days. So I guess she was sending him the calendar again. Yeah, showing, hey, if we're going to go ahead and get pregnant, we need to do it soon. So now he's saying that I guess Jeannie is making up all of this other stuff because he refused to start or have another child with her. And that even after he threatened to file in June of 2023, she still went ahead to try to conceive via the IVF route and allegedly spent thousands of dollars. This is just getting. Did the divorce was one thing. Oh, shocked. Oh, Jeannie and Jeezy are getting a divorce. But the way this has carried on is like absolutely crazy. Never would have expected it. I've said it before and again and again and again, and I'll keep saying it. I'm praying for that baby, Monaco, that she's not affected by all of this drama that's going on around her, and that she has 2 sane parents and realize that she is the priority. Get y'all divorced and move along. Let's talk about Wendy Williams, y'all, and the producers of the documentary. According to Radar Online, dire and scary, Wendy Williams' Lifetime doc producers say they become worried about her care under guardianship. The team behind the disturbing Lifetime documentary, Where is Wendy Williams?, which showed the former talk show host in the throes of primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia, said their series was intended to expose the dire living conditions under her guardianship, RadarOnline.com has learned. That's what I was thinking. I've said that. There was a lot of other people that were talking about it online. Other content creators were talking about it as well, saying that once you watch it, you're like, wait a minute. Because there were people saying, why would they show Wendy like this? Why would they do this? But there were people like myself thinking they did this to expose the guardian and how she's living and how it's not best for her. It's not really about showing Wendy in a certain light. It's about showing the guardians in a certain light. and the manager and the people around her in a certain light. But the deeper we get into it, the deeper we got into it, we didn't want to let go of Wendy until we got her back in touch with her family. Executive producer Mark Ford said during a awards consideration panel in Hollywood on May 1st, per People, because we felt that at a certain point, that's who's going to be there for her, to care for her. You could see Erica and Michael towards the end of the documentary, very, very worried, and saying to her management, who was the only other person that was coming into her apartment on a daily basis, something has to be done to help her. This is getting very dire and scary. And because she was under a guardianship, her family couldn't just fly up and hang out and decide to get involved in her medical care. They were removed from that process by the courts so they could face legal ramifications if they tried to get too involved. Ford said that Williams' court-appointed legal and financial guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, was not responding to any kind of calls for help. And so the documentary took a turn and began trying to expose what these guardianships are like when the family is not involved. I just think in the end, you really see what happens when a guardian has complete control and the family is cut out and they don't know how she's being treated medically. And they don't know what's happened with her finances, co-executive producer Erica Hansen explained. Ford added that it was important that there be ways for families to call out abuses if they feel like they're occurring. And if there are issues, come out and tell the world what they are. The family welcomes that. Just don't keep it in secrecy. Let them answer what the specific things are. It's a very complicated process for her family. But I think you could see in the film, they're a lovely group of people who care about their sister, daughter, mother, and want the best for her. And who better to be involved in her care and who better to be involved in her care than those people, not a stranger. I got to go back to that line. He said, Ford said that Wendy's appointed legal and financial guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, was not responding to any kind of calls for help. And so the documentary took a turn and began trying to expose what these guardianships are like when the family is not involved. We saw the footage of when Wendy was with her family in Florida and her son was taking care of her. She looked healthy, coherent, and wanted to stay there. But then the family was told, you get her back to New York or we're going to bring up charges against you for kidnapping. So what legally, I guess you have to do that. These guardianships are like terrifying. I was watching Jamie That's Me. Shout out to Jamie That's Me. I love her. She's been on the podcast as well. I'm hoping to have her back. But she did a couple of videos about guardianships and specifically the judge that granted this guardianship over Wendy. And when I tell you some shady things seem to be going on with these guardianships and how they're basically getting control of these people's money and then just draining the accounts dry. They get paid and then they charge them for like every little thing. So like basically draining these folks' money. When I tell you it was so wild and scary and like makes you think like, like telling my parents, like if anybody knocks on your door, I mean, they're coherent in their right minds, but some of these people were the same, coherent in their right minds. They get a knock at the door, someone saying you need to come with us. I mean, like it was insane. So I'm glad. I personally, even though I didn't want to see Wendy like that, it was heartbreaking. I'm glad that the documentary has now caused people to be like, hold up, what's going on with the guardianship? What's going on with Sabrina Morrissey? As a matter of fact, recently Kevin went to court and it was Kevin, Wendy's ex, against Sabrina. And basically the judge kind of sided with Kevin. Like he's asked you for certain documents because, Sabrina filed a suit or whatever. I don't know the terminology, but basically that Kevin was overpaid, right? And owed Wendy $112,000 or what have you. And Kevin had been asking for certain financial information to be shown. and she has not done it. And the judge was basically like, you would have not, there's no reason you haven't provided what's been asked of you. So I feel like there's definitely something shady going on. I feel like they are dipping into Wendy's money because there are ways to do it. And I mean, I just hope that it's not too late, as far as with her money and as far as her family being able to get back in her life. There, in one of the specials or what have you about guardianships, a lawyer came out and basically said, unless like how Britney Spears, because the public was like free Britney and all of this other stuff, and she was able to get her guardianship removed. They said normally once a guardianship is put in place, it's next to impossible to have it reversed. And he said, basically, you better hope that you're like rich and famous and have money. Because other than that, that's the only way. I just thought that was so, so, so terrible. So I just hope that it's not too late for Wendy. She's worked so hard her entire life getting to do the thing that she loved. She deserves to be living however she wants to live right now with her family, her money. It just breaks my heart. So prayers up for our auntie Wendy and all those honestly affected by a guardianship. All right, y'all, let me know what y'all think about all the things that we talked about the producers of Wendy's documentary actually speaking out, saying, check this out. It started one way, but then we wanted to flip it and expose the guardianship about Jeezy and Jeannie and this mudslinging, ugly divorce with their beautiful baby girl in the middle. And if you're watching Summer House, Amir responding to Candiace's and many others, even though he directly pointed out Candiace, but many others tweets about his little lady friend being on the show. And y'all watch Summer House. You know, they're quick to pull off to shut down a show. Like I said, Southern Charm, New Orleans, the black cast. I mean, yes, they had a couple white folks on it, but it was mainly black cast on Bravo, and non-black, but non-white, Family Karma, that off. And we say we want them to have black shows. Let's watch them. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. One of the things I love about Summer House is black folks being people. It doesn't always have to be pissing in the woods like the regular Kyle. Like the Kyle on Summer House, or, you know, they don't have to do those things. Black folks can just be black folks in the house with a bonnet, laughing, playing cards. You know, for me, that's me personally. I know there are people that are like, I don't want to watch a show that doesn't have a whole lot of drama. I'm fine with not watching a show like that, but I just like Summer House. I like seeing us on TV being us, you know? So y'all, if you haven't given it a chance, give it a chance. It's a quick watch. And if you have, let me know what y'all think of the season thus far. I saw a casting notice on Twitter for African-American men aged 28 to 37, I believe, for a show that takes place on Martha's Vineyard. So I believe that they've heard the audience's cry to add more single men to the house, because right now it's just Alex. Even though I feel like Nick sometimes be acting like he's single. But anyway, we see his girlfriend show up tomorrow, Sunday. But anyway, let me know what y'all think about Martha's Vineyard. Again, y'all watch it. If you don't watch it on Sunday, watch it on Monday on Peacock. That's when I normally watch it, because I like to skip the commercials. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Are y'all Love and Marriage watchers? Because Love and Marriage Huntsville comes back on tonight. I watched it, me and my husband, in the beginning, like season after season. And then like the last couple of seasons, I was very much in and out. I would watch recaps of it, but I didn't really watch the show. But I'm definitely going to watch this season and recap it. So I hope you will join me. All right, y'all. I will talk to y'all later. See ya. Oh, I'm so excited. The hubby went to pick up. My husband's name is Corey, and that way I don't have to say my husband, Corey Sr., right? So he went to pick up the baby girl to bring her home for the summer. So he made that drive to Syracuse. It's like their thing now. I originally took her up there, me, my mom, my mom's good friend, my oldest daughter and her, and that's not normally something I would do. Normally he would have been there too, but with the way she had to move in, he would have driven all the way to Syracuse and then had to come home one day, turn around and drive my son out to California and fly back, because she went to Georgia State her first year. So her and my son were on different schedules. Her spring break was 1 week, his was 1 week. But now they go back the same time. Like this year when she transferred to Syracuse, everything was on the same schedule. So I went up there, moved her in or whatever. She will fly, but it's not her favorite. So whenever she comes home, like on a break, he drove up there to get her and bring her, take her back. So this morning he went up there to get her. So she will be back home tonight. I'm excited to, and then of course, once we fly out there in May for his ceremony, he'll be back. Then he's going back out next semester, but I'll be so glad to have them home. You can't guarantee anything, right? But with her being in New York, him being in California, I had to put it in my mind not to worry, because you will make yourself sick, right? But them being under the same roof, even if they're going out with their friends, just knowing that they're coming back home. Now I know how my mom felt. Like, I feel better when all y'all are in the house and I know that y'all are sleeping good, right? But it's going to take some getting used to, because the house be a certain way when it's just him and I. We got our little routine down pat. Like I said, we didn't always have to close doors. Now we're going to go back to that, so yeah, it'll take some getting used to, but I'm excited. And then my oldest will be flying out too to go to his ceremony. So we'll all 5 of us will be together then. So it's going to be a good time. But I'm excited that by 11 o'clock p.m., the baby girl, the youngest, because she's not a baby, the youngest, my Sky, will be home for the summertime. And I'm excited. So just wanted to share that with y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching, commenting, liking the video, subscribing. Please, I got to get used to saying that. So normally doing the podcast, after 8 years of podcasting, I'm used to saying, subscribe to the podcast, tell a friend. But now I got it used to saying, hey, like, comment, subscribe, share. And thank you for all of you that have done that. It really feels like we're in this together, whether we agree or disagree, respectfully. All right, y'all, this time for real. I will talk to y'all later. See ya.